Today's the day that I take and I pull the tank and the fenders off my Scout 60 and I get it painted one of my favorite colors. All of this painting work is going to get done by a place called the Color Lab. I don't have the equipment, I don't have the skill to do a proper paint job on a motorcycle and make it look professional. Flashback 3 years ago when I bought my Scout, I didn't actually want the Thunder Black. What I wanted, well, I would have liked the Indian Red, but what I wanted wasn't available. I bought the all black 60, not because I wanted to murder it out or anything like that, but mainly because it was the cheapest one and I could afford to buy it outright at the time. I had been saving up for quite a while and I had the cash to do it. So I never wanted an all black bike, and my OCD tendencies kick in and I end up spending so much time cleaning it instead of riding it. I just don't like a filthy bike, and black shows all the dirt. So what color is it going to go, you ask? Well, my favorite color is green, and out of the whole spectrum of shades of greens and all that, my all-time favorite green on any vehicle has to be what Jeep called rescue green. This first photo is of, well, it's got aftermarket wheels on it, but it's a Wrangler Jeep in rescue green, and you can see that the black really goes well with the green. So the black on the 60 is going to really stand out well with the green. And also it has little bits of silver, like in the emblems where it says Sahara on this one. You know, here's the next photo I found online of old Honda CB restoration where they painted it Jeep Rescue green. And while it's got some gold in there, the black and silver with the green looks really cool. And finally, the last picture is of I think it's a 65 or 66 Mustang, and it's rescue green and it looks really slick. So you can see where I'm going with the colors here. That particular green in the sunlight has like a pearlescent quality to it that's really cool. It's not a candy, but it kind of looks that way. Also, the Color Lab's going to custom mix a version of Rescue Green for me so that it has slightly bigger metal flake in it. I'm not going bass boat sparkle. It's just a little bit bigger flake. The color scheme we're going for is all the tins. So you got the front fender, you got the tank, and the rear fender. They're all going to be solid Rescue Green. And just like I have now with this decal from More Speed Racing, the side of the tank is going to be two-tone, but instead of being silver, it's going to be black. And then around the outside, I'm going to have a silver pinstripe. And then I've got a set of bobber, Scout bobber emblems that I've ordered, so I'm going to put those on. And I might take the Scout part off of it so it just says Indian. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to have the headlight bucket itself, the main body, painted rescue green, and the trim ring itself to be silver to match the silver that's going to be the pinstripe around the tank. So, you know, overall the effect is it looks like it could have come that way from the factory. I'm not going crazy over the top graphics or any of that stuff. I just want it my favorite color. It's that simple. A real quick catch up, just kind of to bring everyone up to speed, because I haven't done a lot of videos on the Scout, basically because from the point at which I put saddlebags on the Scout, I've just been riding it, you know, and enjoying the bike, not necessarily throwing out content on YouTube. I do these videos for fun. I don't do them as a professional thing, so it's not like I do these regularly scheduled videos. I just happen to enjoy doing it, and I've kind of gotten a little good at it. I wouldn't say I'm great, but you know, they look nice, I think. The number one question I'm asked, probably more than anything, it falls into two categories. I've asked about the seat, and I'm asked about the Power Commander and the Bassani. So we'll do the seat first. People ask me with the 1920 Solo seat, is it comfortable? You know, is it good on a long ride? And my best answer to that is it depends on your butt. And what I mean by that is I'm 6 foot even, and I weigh about 220, 225 pounds. I'm not a skinny guy. But the original seat, the one that came standard on the Scout put a lot of undue pressure on my tailbone, and it was uncomfortable on a long ride. I needed to stretch my legs out a little bit more, but I didn't want to do the extended reach controls. And I really like the look of the 1920s solo seat. So that's what I bought. And because the seat's wider, it spreads the load out on your rear end more. And for me, it's more comfortable, even though the seat itself doesn't have as much padding. It's a lot more comfortable. And I can ride it all day long, and it's fine. But somebody else might find that seat horribly uncomfortable and hate it. So it really depends upon the rider. So, you know, that's why there's so many different versions of seats for the Scout now, is because everybody's butt's different, so everybody has a different comfort level on the seat they want. But if you're a taller guy, you know, around 6 foot, and you don't want to be cramped up, the nice thing about the 1920 solo seat is you can push yourself back on the seat if you want to stretch out, because it doesn't kick up at the back. So you have more room, in my opinion. And for me, it's more comfortable. And I love the way it looks. It is an Indian accessory. That's where I bought it from, the local dealership. It doesn't come with the accessory chrome grab rail, which I think really makes the look of the bike. So together they're around 500 bucks, which is quite a bit. You can get other seats for cheaper. So shop around, find what you like. Secondly, the chrome grab rail really accentuates the National Cycle rack that I put on my rear fender. So the line of the bike flows, and it really looks like it's supposed to be there and not just some accessories I throw on the bike. So the next question I'm asked probably the most has to deal with the Bassani 2-in-1, the Trask intake, and specifically the Power Commander. Now, I put my Power Commander and all these parts of my bike literally the year I bought it. And at that time, the Power Vision CX actually wasn't available. As a matter of fact, they didn't even have a tune for the Scout 60 because it was so new. If you bought a Power Commander 5 back then, the only downloadable maps for the Power Commander would have been for an 1133 Scout with different configurations of exhaust and intake. In my case, I had fully planned on taking it and getting it chassis dyno tuned, which is exactly what happened. I installed all the parts myself. There's a video on that. Obviously, if you're watching this, you probably have either subscribed or have seen those videos. So there's a video out on it, and I did the work on that bike 3 years ago, and I've never had any issues with it. The bike went to my local dealer, Spartan Cycle in Clinton Township, Michigan, where they did the tuning on it. They are a Power Commander dealer. They have the full-on dyno. They can dyno tune any bike there. And so my bike was tuned specifically for my combination of parts, because at the time there wasn't a map available, didn't exist, and there was no Power Vision, so I couldn't reflash the original ECU. Now, before you ask, no, I'm not going to pull the Power Commander off and put on a Power Vision CX. And I do know that the stock ECU does a partial throttle body close at a specific RPM, and I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to pop up on the screen here what the dyno sheet looks like from when my bike was tuned. My bike made on the dyno, this was 3 years ago, so these numbers may have changed slightly, 81.44 horsepower at the rear wheel and 72.28 pound-feet of torque. Now this is on a Scout 60 with the Trask intake, the Power Commander 5, and a Bassani 2-in-1. I do not have the auto tune. This was dyno tuned by Spartan Cycle. Now, by comparison, the stock 1133 Scout, so the big Scout, makes 84.88 horsepower at the rear wheel and 63.53 pound-feet of torque. So I'm actually making 8.65 more pound-feet of torque at the rear wheel than a stock 1133 does. And I'm within about 3.5 horsepower, give or take. So if you do the math on this, back in 2016 dollars, I believe I paid Well, I paid the $9,800 plus tax or so. So the difference between the Thunder Black Scout 60 and a Thunder Black 1133 Scout is $2,300, give or take any sales or incentives. I spent a total of $1,400 in mods. So all those parts, all in, plus I did the installation, so there's no labor on that, and also the fee, the service fee, the labor for doing the dyno tune. That's a $900 difference between my tuned 60 and an 1133 Scout. So that's $900 left in my pocket that I can go and buy more gear for, which guess what? That's what paid for the seat, right? Because I had been saving up for this bike for a while. So I actually make more torque than a stock 1133, and I'm pretty darn close in horsepower. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So I still save money, and the bike is fast. It's faster than I got skill to ride it, and honestly, you could tune an 1133 and make even more power, but the jump in performance, like how much as a percentage gain that you get by tuning a 60 is pretty darn huge. And I think that's why Indian partially closes the throttle body on the stock ECU. So now, flash forward to 2019, you get a PowerVision CX and you dyno tune your bike or even download the maps. You can remove that throttle restriction and make just about the same kind of power without even doing anything. No intake mod, no exhaust mod, none of that stuff. It's pretty darn amazing how much they detuned the 60 so it falls in below price-wise, you know, to the 1133, because why would you buy the bigger bike if you could get similar performance for $350, you know, installing a PowerVision. So it was worth it, at least in my opinion. And I've been able to buy stuff for my bike, little bits at a time, and get it to the point where it is now. I've got it perfect. Everything I ever wanted on it is on it right now. I have no desire to buy more stuff for it. It's exactly the way I want it, except for the color. And I'm gonna fix that today. Or at least I'm gonna start getting that fixed today. Someone else is gonna shoot the color for me. So let's get the Scout Tour part. So the next part of this, I think I'm just gonna do a fast forward kind of time lapse thing, just so we get through it, because like I said, I'm not doing a DIY. And if you've ever recorded your own YouTube videos, it takes you twice as much time to do any job because you have to stop, move the camera, start and stop, think about what you're going to say, and it takes a lot more effort and time to do something you're trying to record versus just doing it. So I'm just going to do the work and get the parts off the bike because I need to get this cleaned up. I need to get the parts off the bike and prepped or ready to go to the paint shop. And I don't have time to constantly start and stop the camera. So we're just gonna get stuck in and do it, right? There's only two connectors that you see on the bottom fuel tank. That's the wiring harness connector there, and this is the barbed push-on fitting where you squeeze the fitting that's on the end of the hose, and that takes it off. It's far easier to take it off the tank side than it is to take it off the fuel rail side, which is what I had done in a previous video, but the shop manual says to take it off the tank side, and I can see why. It's a whole lot easier. So that can air dry for a little while, and then I can go about stripping my stickers and stuff off, but we have ourselves a naked Scout. Sorry, buddy. It'll be worth it in the end. All the parts are nice and organized. I got all my fasteners I took off the bike in here so they don't get lost. I also cleaned up a bunch of this stuff as I pulled it off. Some of those are Barney parts. But yeah. Well, Burt is pretty much naked. A naked Burt. Ah. Originally, I tried to take this off from the fuel rail fitting, and that's where I had taken it off in the Trask, this guy, Trask intake Bassani 2-in-1 Power Commander video. That block of wood just to help prop the tank up so I can get my hand under it. That's your wiring harness connector. This guy is on the bottom of the fuel tank, and it is far easier to open that guy up than it is farting around with a connector on the fuel rail for the injectors. So that's what it says in the manual. Duh. And then there's your vent tube hoses. It's pretty tight under there, man, but it all sort of kind of fits. It almost looks like I got space right there. If I had room for it, I'd put this Power Commander module, this guy under there, because ain't a lot of room for it. Thanks for watching. If you wouldn't mind, click the like and the subscribe button. I know I don't do a ton of videos on a regular basis, but that's the quickest way to know when another one comes out. There'll be more Scout related videos in the future, obviously, but at some point in time, this as a project is going to be wrapped up as far as I'm concerned. It'll be exactly the way I want it, and I'm just going to write it. Didn't do a lot of project videos on Melly Speedmaster, so I think we're going to throw in and go all out on Barney this year. We'll see. It's been real busy at work. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Until I see everyone again, remember, ride safe.